Hello everyone, welcome back. So for the longest time, I wanted to know how accurate a Mosin Nagant really is, okay? And this Mosin Nagant that I have here is stamped 1936. One of the cool things about rifles like this is, they've been to battle, okay? Like unlike modern day ARs and AKs that are, they're basically built for the civilian market. These were actually built for war. This was built in 1936. I have another one that was built in 1942. The earlier ones tend to be better. Everything seems to be fitted better because during the war things were rushed into production. Like I said, for the longest time I wanted to know how accurate this was, and just using the iron sights, it's really hard for me to judge because, when I'm comparing it to other rifles that I shoot, like ARs or AKs, they all have either red dots on them or scopes. Okay, so using the iron sights to judge this rifle, I didn't think it was fair. So I found this contraption on Amazon. Basically, it's a rail that clamps onto the barrel. Okay, you can see what it looks like, and it was like $5, really cheap. And that allowed me to mount the a red dot onto it. I picked the Bushnell because I needed something that was small and that would fit in this space over here. So one of the things that you'll find is if you try to do something like this, it's you're going to be a little bit higher than your iron sight. So when you're looking for the red dot, your head's going to have to come up a little bit higher. Your jaw's going to kind of be on the stock. If you're not careful, the tendency with your jaw on the stock is to cant the rifle a little bit, which is going to throw off your accuracy. I did find myself making that mistake, and I did correct it. So I've been testing this out today to see what type of accuracy I can get with the Mosin Nagant, and I shot it primarily with Russian surplus ammo. Basically, this stuff came out of the tuna cans. It's got like Russian marking all over it. For all I know, it's probably left over from the war. So let's talk about the accuracy that I was able to get. I was able to get consistent 4-inch clusters, okay? But then, like, I would get one shot that would just, like, really go off. And I know when I throw a shot off, right? In this case, like, I could see that the red dot was pretty much, when I would go bang, the red dot would come up and it would more or less land right there. So over here I have a grouping. I got an inch and a half cluster, but really don't pay any attention to this because this only happened one time, okay? So, don't look at the 1.5-inch cluster, but the 4-inch cluster, that happened often enough to say that is somewhat consistent. And then, like in this case here, I have one shot that ended up over here, that's the shot, which opened up the total group to about 7 inches. So I'm seeing lots of 4-inch clusters. If you're doing a 5-shot group, you'll get like, 4 of them to get within 4 inches, and then there'll be one that goes way off to the side. I got another one over here. And as you can see, there's ammo all over the table. I shot this a lot today. And again, same deal here. I got a 4-inch cluster, okay? And then there was one shot that was all the way over here that opened it up to about 7 inches. So I think that the main issue with this ammo, the main issue with the rifle is really not the rifle. I think it's the ammunition. I think it's just not made as it's not loaded as consistent where you'll get one shot that's going to throw it off. I did try it with some Tula, and I found the same thing. I mean, I was getting like close, and not every shot had a 4-inch cluster. Some of them were a little bit bigger, but I was getting 4-inch clusters or thereabout, and then one shot would be really off. So I think that's really an ammo issue rather than a rifle issue. So that's what I'm seeing with this rifle. That's what it can do. I've considered another option. They make a rail where you take off the rear sight and you mount it on. But I looked at some reviews on that, and with the high recoil of this rifle, that's not stable enough. So with this system over here, where you clamp it down and then you mount your red dot over here, this was pretty stable. So that worked out pretty good for me. And it allowed me to see how accurate this rifle really is. Now, for you guys that don't know, the Mosin Nagant does have a safety. Basically, when you pull this back and you twist it to the side. However, it is a pain in the balls. The Russians never even used this. If I got around the chamber and I want to go down range, I'll just open it up, because with this, and you don't have to pull it back. There you go. You don't have to pull it back all the way. I'll just pop it up, and that way it won't fire if you just pop it up. So that's how, that's what I do for a safety on this gun. Okay, if I want to go down range, I just pop it up. And then when I get back, I'll close it. And if I want to decock it, you can hold back the trigger, and then that will decock it. So that's a method that I use to decock this. Bushnell did pretty good. I mean, for a $50 scope, for the high recoil on this rifle, I kind of suspected that it might break after the first shot. So when I put it on there and I was just trying to get a zero, like, I was somewhat surprised it did not break after that first shot. But I think I shot well over 100 rounds with that on it. I probably shot close to 160. And that Bushnell held up pretty good. My only problem with the Bushnells is that it's not really bright enough. Okay, earlier in the day when I had the sun out, and especially with the snow, the red dot really washes out against the snow. Unless it's a powerful red dot. So I did have that issue. The other issue with the Bushnells is that it just eats the battery. I did have to change the battery. I've kind of gotten used to, like, I have my Holostones that are solar powered, or like even like the 503G that it's really battery efficient. So it'll do like 10,000 hours. It has the auto shut off. It has shake awake. So compared to the red dots that we're buying these days, the Bushnells are, they really eat the batteries. So there are my thoughts on that. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it. Hit the subscription button so you can see new videos that I put up. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, so I'm shooting at a rim just left of this first berm over there. It's at that second berm. That's at about 50 yards. It's getting just dark enough that you guys should be able to see some sparks coming out of the rim when I hit it. And I'm just using the red dot. Fun. See you guys next time.